Hello, hello YouTube. Oh, sorry. I remember this thing picks up and doesn't actually tell me how loud I'm coming through. So I will be mindful of that. I don't sound like Foghorn Leghorn. So I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to do this video. It's something I've actually got quite an interest in. I guess. I suppose you either know that or you don't. But look, all I can tell you is I do know some stuff about this stuff, and it's probably more than the average person. Does that make me an expert? No. Does that make me right? I don't know. Maybe yes or no. I mean, everything's up to interpretation. So believe whatever you want to believe. You know, it's you can take what I say as information that might be correct, or you can disprove it and say it's not. And there's nothing wrong with either of those options. So I'm always open to discussion, and I'm not under the assumption that information is not, you know, it is what it is, you know. So let's start with the first one, which is, oh sorry, I'm going to just turn Norton to stop telling me about updates. I don't care. Go away, Norton. Anyway, so what do I know? Well, actually, more than you realise, most of my jobs have, well, almost all of them are night shift jobs. I've been doing night shift since I was 19 years old. Yeah, I'm 39 now, so yeah, take that, world. Apparently, I've done more night shift than pretty much everyone else on the planet. So, no, not really. That's just how my work's always been. It's not something that I would say that gives you more opportunities than the next person to see anything spooky. It's just big, you know, maybe spooky things happen more because there's less people around. I don't know if that matters, but look, all I'll tell you about ghosts, what I'll tell you about ghosts is, look, the stuff you see on things like Mindseed TV, I do like that channel, but it's very hard to say whether or not what they're saying is what they're showing is accurate, because they pull up some really great like footage, stuff that you would go, well, look, that's pretty conclusive, you know. But the reality is it never happens like that. Okay, what you see doesn't happen like you see on these. Now, I don't know if they'll say, well, we're provoking the entity or whatever, and so we expect more, but I don't know. You see, because you know, when you see a house shake or a piano play, which was in one of their episodes, or you know, a spooky ghost lady pop out of the water, I mean, you don't really see that in real life. That doesn't really happen. So, what really happens in general, and I'll run you through the things I've seen, but I'll tell you one thing, is it doesn't happen on cue. All right. So what you see does not happen because you are trying to get this thing to happen. Okay. And that will be the only thing you will see through the whole night, for example, or day. You're not going to see any more activity other than this one thing. So it's very hard to believe when you see all this activity happening and all these talkings and okay. So it just doesn't happen like that. It doesn't. That's not what you generally see. Okay, so we'll start with some of the accounts. We'll start with when I was doing security, because there were accounts of things happening that were unusual. Now, one thing I will say with ghosts is you should not be afraid. Okay, that's first thing. First thing with ghosts, demons, or angels is don't be afraid. Okay, because they can't really hurt you. So there's nothing to be afraid of. They're of another plane of existence, okay? So they're not going to hurt you, okay? They can't. They don't have a physical body to hurt you, And if they did, you could physically hurt them. So be that in mind. Okay, you can't have it one way or both. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It doesn't work like that. For them to physically harm you, they would have to have a body to be physically harmed back. Okay, so that's number one, right? Number two is ghosts. Look, like I said, I'll run you through what I've seen. So yeah. And look, actually, one of the other things, just to start with, is there's going to be a lot of skeptics out there who will say, I don't believe you, and that's fine. I'm not here to convince you, okay? I am not, Stephen Bachman is not here to convince you that there are ghosts, demons, or angels, okay? I am not, that's not my job. That's not my job. So I'm going to tell you straight up, you think what you want, and you hear the stories and believe whatever you want to believe, that's fine. But I'm not going to tell you that, yes, this is true, or no, this is... What I will tell you is, or that you should believe or not believe, right? So what I'll tell you is when the time comes for you to know one day, you will. But it won't be because of something I said. So if God wants you to know about the other side, you will know, okay? It's like faith, like if you want to have faith, and that's probably the start. If you want to have faith, like atheists don't want to have faith, so they don't. That's fine, but like part of the journey of life is to critically think and test everything, and that's where atheists come in, right? That's what their role is. So they want to test everything, and they want to disprove all the bunk. Okay, fine, but what I'll tell you is one day your heart may change, and it's not going to be your brain that tells you to change. It'll be your heart, right? You'll just know one day. Going to church might not do that for you. That's fine. Going to a mosque might not do that for you. That's fine. Okay? Like, that's life, Everyone has their own journey, all right? Nobody's criticizing anyone's journey, okay? Our journeys are our own. So you have to face whatever it is, but unfortunately, you'll probably have to come to realizations on your own. No one can make you understand. You'll have to understand one day on your own. And it will have to be something that triggers you to go, maybe there is something. Let's get into the stories now. So, now this is going back, okay? So we're going back many years. So some of the stories might be a little scratchy, but we'll try to cover it. And there's a lot of stories, I can tell you that much. Okay, and you'll say, you see a lot. Well, I have. Like I said, I did night shift, so yeah. And most of the time you don't see, 99% of the time you won't see nothing. And you'll probably just pass most of it off as, like that. But anyway, look, first story is place we used to security. There was a shadow figure that there was 2 stories to this building. And I used to like eating my lunch there because it was like a place you had to stay for X amount of time. And basically, it was just a really good place to eat lunch. They had a great lunchroom, great microwave, had a vending machine. Like it was a nice place to eat lunch. So you figured, well, I'm going to be stuck here, and other people have to leave me alone while I eat my lunch. So that's because you're often so busy at work that you never get time to sort of plan these things. A lot of young people think that, lunch is pre-planned and you can just like that. No, you have to plan your own lunch, kiddies. You have to plan your own lunch. If you want lunch, you have to time manage so that you can have lunch. That's basically it. And you have to set aside time and go, lunchtime. So anyway, getting to that, there used to be a shadow figure that used to hang around on the 2nd floor. Used to stare at you. It was very creepy. I always got an evil vibe from that one. I'm not really sure what it was doing there. I don't know why that specific spot it was at. I checked the history on the building. There was no deaths associated with that building. It was an auction house before it was a depot, and it was sort of like one of those things that you sort of like, okay, like not sure why there's a creepy shadow figure there, but whatever. I did check with the other guards. They had also experienced this thing. I guess you could call it a thing. I'm not really sure what else to call it. It didn't do a lot. It just stared at you. You could only make it out figuratively. Like, I can remember one night I went looking for it because I thought, nah, I'm going to find out what this thing is. It's not a person, that was for sure. There just was no. Look, the building had alarm systems galore, so I can tell you if it was a human, it would have detected the human. So it was not a human. So yeah. And fun fact, if you for your building, big fence, no zap fence. Zap fence is bad. They go off all the time in storms and for unrelated reasons 99% of the time. So having a zap fence will cost you a lot of money. So no zap fence, get rid of the zap fence. And look, if you're really worried about your security, dog, put a dog security on there. Nothing will bother you ever again, I guarantee it. Most people don't mess with dogs, especially burglars, because they know dogs are faster, can bite really hard, and yeah. So do not worry about the nonsense stuff. Just a good fence, decent system, hooked up to one of the monitoring companies, and you should be right. Like, and just keep your PIRs, which are the little sensors you get in the corners of the building. Just give them a dust every now and then. A lot of bugs get on them and get call out to that, and like spiders and stuff like that. And that's what costs you a lot of money. So if you want to save some money, just keep the area tidy and those couple of things, and you should be good, right? And most of the time, that's more than enough. I'll tell you that locks don't really work because burglars don't really care about locks. They'll just smash through the door. So yeah, that doesn't work. A decent lock will help, but it's not going to. It won't stop someone who really wants to get in the building and steal something. They're just going to do that. They're going to break whatever they have to get whatever they want. Burglars also work on opportunity. So if you make an opportunity difficult for them, they tend not to try to steal. That's how criminals basically think. They're not smart. Most criminals are really dumb. I've rarely seen that organised crime smart. I've seen it a couple of times. Most are dumb. Most criminals are stupid, like really stupid. The dumbest people on the planet, like as dumb as they come. Yes, I'm talking to you criminals. You're dumb. You're super dumb. Most of you who do crime don't even know how to fight. I mean, you're breaking the law and you can't fight. How does that even work? You didn't think to take up some martial arts or boxing, or I suppose you could file that in with martial arts. Like, how is it that you do evil and you're stupid and you don't know how to defend yourself? Kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to do something bad, at least try and be good at it. And you're terrible at it. Just say it. There's a reason why most of you get caught. Right, back to the ghost stuff. Sorry, I got a bit carried away there. My bad. Right. So yeah, so there was that creepy thing. It used to bother me because I used to just think, just leave me alone, let me eat my lunch in peace. One night I said to it, one night I said to it, I just fed her. I think I'm going to have to go collect her because she's not going to stop now. We'll try, and then she keeps Anyway, yeah. So I keep getting distracted. Um, sorry, she's gonna keep bowing. Give me a sec. Just sit, dummy. Sit. I'm talking. No, no. You wanted to stay, so you stay. There. Happy? Your parents are homosocial. Yeah. So, she's on the cord. What are you doing? Yeah, yeah. Try that. Better? Good. Where were we, Pinkies? Okay, so, um, yes, so one night I told it, if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to burn this place down and I'm going to pee on the ashes. Not in those words, obviously YouTube won't let me say the actual words, but basically, it left me alone. I don't know why it believed me. I couldn't actually do that, and I wouldn't do that. But I wasn't planning to go to jail. But I just wanted to be left alone. um, yeah, so I've wrapped myself up. How does that even happen? Oh, no, still keep doing it. Yeah, so yeah, so that was the first one. There wasn't really much interaction other than seeing this thing. I checked with the other guards; they'd also seen this thing. So it was confirmed that it was even there. We'll get to the big one I had with the security, but this next one actually is quite an interesting story. There was a place I used to security in Vic Park. I'll tell you, this place was creepy as hell. I'll tell you what its history was. It did have a history, big history. This place, it's right next to a park actually. It's near the McDonald's. I'll say that much. It used to be an asylum for wayward children. Actually, sorry, no, my bad. So this is its complete history. It was a nunnery, okay? That was the start. It used to be a place that nuns went. After that, it was turned into a mental asylum, and I believe an asylum for the criminally insane type people. Not 100% on that. There was people there that died. They were cremated, and their ashes might have been spread on the site, actually. I'm not sure why they did that, not just given to the family. Whether or not they had a family, I don't know, but it just seems a bit wrong. There was just no closure for the family on that one. Anyway, after that, then it became a hospice for kids with autism and their mothers. It actually said that on a sign. One of the other guards found a sign, and that's what it said on it, for troubled children and their mothers. How bad is that? That's how people fought back in the 50s and that. Like, how bad is that? It's so bad. Was it like the 50s or 60s? I'm not sure. Yeah, so the building was getting, it was trashed. It was trashed from head to toe. There was, the whole building was just completely gutted and destroyed. And it really had a very horrible vibe to the building. Guess what it was getting turned into? Taxation office. So, total, like when you think of the history, why would you make it a taxation office? Like, it's just like one evil to another. Yeah, so one of the nights I was working Halloween. Anyway, the alarm went off at exactly 3 o'clock in room 13. How creepy is that? Yeah. I don't think it might have been in 2013. I can't remember on that one. It's very, like I said, it was a long time ago. assume that building was finished off, whatever they were doing, it was under renovation. I did go looking around with a camera. I did not find anything of interest, unfortunately. I did find room 13. I did go, it wasn't a great building to walk around with at night. Like I said, it was a very old building. The building was dilapidated, like significantly dilapidated. I was actually concerned I was going to fall through the floor more than ghosties. Like, I did think it was rather creepy though, like having the alarm go off at exactly 3 a.m. and room 13 in this old building with a really terrible history. Like, it's sort of looking at it like, that's interesting, maybe I'll see something, but I didn't see anything. I looked, I didn't see anything. It was kind of disappointing, to be honest. I don't know if you class that as a ghosty type thing. All I'll say is that there was a lot of coincidence there, but whatever happened, I never saw it. So, yeah, it is what it is. I don't know if they revamped. Look, the amount of money you would have had to spend on that building was a lot, so I assume they fixed it, but I personally would have just bulldozed the building. The building was trash. The whole building needed to come down. It was just unsafe to be in. I was concerned I was going to fall through the floor. The floorboards were like that, like it had floorboards, 2 stories. The room 13 was actually on the 2nd story, and it was a very, very not fun experience when you're going in this building with bits of broken glass everywhere. There's, lots of trip hazards and no lighting. You can't turn on the light. And see, a lot of people think security guards don't turn on lights like you see in the movies. They always walk around with their torch. And no, if there's a light switch, I'll flick the light on. Why won't we use a torch when you've got building light? Like, a dump. Why not just use what's there? It's much easier to see with the lights on. You just got to use your brain. Anyway, I don't know what you would call that one. The most obvious one I had that I can remember doing security was there was a golf course, and it's opposite Swanbourne Barracks, which is in Swanbourne. So that's like one of the main barracks in Perth for the soldiers. We had contracts for that, but I never got to actually see anything on there. I think they had their own personal security. I remember Ben Cousins actually broke into that place one time, didn't go to jail. Typical Ben Cousins, gets away with everything because he's Perth's prince of special treatment. One of those people, girls swoon over him, and he's this special boy who always stuffs up and no one ever holds him to account. And and he did things like that, and you were just like, how's he not in jail? Like, you just broke a federal law going into a place that you were not allowed to go. It was a federal crime to trespass on there, and you didn't go to jail. Really? I bet you if that was any of us, we'd be in jail. Just saying. And of all the people you'd want to pee off, why soldiers? Why would you want to irk the wrath of soldiers? That when you're on their territory, you're under their jurisdiction, they can beat the hell out of you. They can probably shoot you if they wanted. Like, you're on their turf. You're in their world. Just saying. So dumb. Anyway, at this golf course across the road, just do it like this place had gone off a couple of times, so didn't really expect all that much going in the place. Had a nice toilet, I'll say that much. Anyway, so I entered the building. It's got some sliding doors, they were sliding doors. And so you enter there. You do get a bit of a breeze when you. You do get a bit of a breeze when the doors open at night. It was a breeze that did come in, I will say that. But what wasn't accounted for was the fact that the door handle did this in front of my face. Like that. Let me repeat that. Anyway, you get the idea. So the door, my natural thing is to make my hand go there, but it's actually here. Yeah. So the door closed by itself. Okay. Doors don't do that, especially a regular door with a handle. Obviously, I thought there was a person there. Why wouldn't you? I went looking around, didn't find no people. I did look. I checked that building head to toe. I didn't find any people. Yeah. I did later go back there because, like I said, this place was a bit of a regular. It's kind of annoying. But I did find a plaque on the wall, and it appears someone had died there. Okay. So I'll say that much, that physically I saw the door close in front of my face, like that, like a human closing the door. It was interesting. Like I said, I think I went back there with a camera. I think I tested some of the things to see if the wind from the other door could do that. I never found that it could. So take that with whatever you want to believe. That's what I saw. Happened in front of my face, like probably from me to you with the camera, like that close. It was close. It wasn't something that was far away. Okay. It wasn't something from a distance. It was directly in front of me. I saw it with my own eyes. Okay. One last one that I can remember from security, and there was a few places, but this place always creeped us out going there. It was a school. It was up in Goswells, right? So there was a school up there, and we had to go around and check for people and all that. And this particular one, I never saw anything personally, but I always had a creepy vibe. There was always something about that place that just always set me off, like, just always got my hairs up. I was always like, I really like this place. I did talk to some of the other guards. They also believed. I don't know if they'd seen anything. They never said they had. They just said, oh, yeah, I think, like, they were telling me about stories, like, oh, yeah, I think that place, or they'd say, that place is haunted, or like say, well, look, first thing, you don't try to find out if someone thinks it's haunted. You say to them, you notice anything about that place, and blah blah blah. Like, just try and gauge their reaction, and when they're sort of like, oh yeah, what do you know, kind of thing. Like, that's basically how those conversations go. So yeah, Look, I never saw anything. I had my suspicions, but it was very hard for me to say. I never physically. There's always around a particular set of classrooms. Always found this just really, really didn't like that place. It was just like something was just really had my hackles up, and I didn't like it one bit. I don't know why. I don't know what the history of that land is. I don't know if there is deaths associated with that place. I don't know if anyone had committed suicide or anything on the property. I don't think so. I think that would be on the news, but I never saw anything. So all I can say is it was just really uncomfortable. So it's something in the pit of your stomach. It feels like there's something watching your back, and just really had this really uncomfortable feeling there, like something's wrong. Okay. Moving into what I've seen in aged care, quite a lot. Got to remember, a lot of people have died in aged care, so yeah. Okay, the first one is, I'll tell you about. It's a real innocuous one, but we even kind of worked out who it probably was, actually. I was talking to the other staff, kind of sussed it out. But after a while, it just sort of stopped. There was a room that had a bunch of DVDs in the room, and I didn't know that someone had an attachment to these DVDs. But a lot of staff used to go and sleep in the room because it was a room, close the door. So on their break, they'd have a sleep and come back to it. I don't do that at work personally. I just find if I have a sleep at night, it makes me more tired, so I don't do to. Also, I prefer to get my sleeping in before work, but each their own. So I got a stitch. This particular room, some of the staff had reported that they'd hear pacing and footsteps in the room, and there was a large shadow figure there. I'd seen it myself. I had actually seen this particular being, if you want to call it whatever you want. It was just a big black shape, looked like a large man, like 6'2", 120 kilos plus, just big guy, just quite a big guy. Anyway, a friend of mine, her brother had passed, and she was sleeping in the chair. I just sort of stuck my head and just checked on her, and I know I'd asked her. I said, "Oh, I think your brother, might have been checking on you." And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Oh, I saw this," and she's like, "No." And but the person I described was not her brother. She just said, "Oh, it's not my brother," and I was like, "Okay." And anyway, didn't really think too much of it because the shape was standing behind her in the chair. Like, I just thought the brother was just checking. That's what I thought. I thought the brother was just there, just checking. Anyway, another person who worked there was stone deaf, like deaf as a post. And go away, computer, stop telling me about updates. I don't care. Anyway, this person, they were having a rest on the couch, and apparently when they woke up, there was a man standing over them, looking at them, and fit the description of this man. This big man. Just scared the hell out of him. But, I will say that's, and when I spoke to the other staff about it, they had all had experiences with this particular thing, and it sometimes left the room and went to another room and then disappeared. But yeah, it was one of those things. Like I said, we kind of worked out from the belongings in the room, past history, talking to the staff of who had been here, what they, etc. We kind of worked out who it was, but no one bad or anything. Just that was it. I won't say, but just say that we kind of sussed it out. So it was that. And like I said, multiple people, if not most of the people that had worked in that particular area, and I was predominantly in that area, had experiences with the shape person, whatever, and that was it. It didn't do anything. It just kind of paced around and looked at people. It was just, not really sure what it wanted. Like I said, it went away eventually. Whether or not it found peace, I don't know. I think we all kind of suggested to it that it should go to the light or whatever, kind of like the time's here's up, go. Anyway, moving on. Another particular one. This is a good one. Leaving a room of a resident, just done our job on this, sorting them out. We were leaving the room, and as I closed the door, in my ear, I heard a whisper, and the whisper said, "I'll see if I can replicate it. It's very hard." because it's like there's no audible voice. It's just like a sound on the wind. But it said, like that. That's all I heard. There was another worker with me, obviously, and I said to that other worker, I said, "Oh, did you say something?" Like, and she said no. And I said, "Oh, I thought you just said hello." And then she said, "No, I didn't say hello." I said, "Oh, I just heard a noise in my ear and blah blah blah." And she said, and I was like, "Yeah, moving on." Anyway, so yeah, it was just like that. Interesting, very interesting. Um, Another one that happened. Um, I saw I saw a door. This was actually a good story. Um, the door opened in front of me, I was working with this girl, and she's can't hear. Anyway, we were just getting ready to do our work, as you do. Like you get everything ready, and then off you go. You've got a lot of people to see. Got a lot of things to do, and the door was closed. No, sorry, the door was open, and then the door suddenly just went like that, closed. And I was like, "Oh." And I asked her, I said, "Oh, did you kick the door?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Oh, the door just closed like that." And kind of just looked at each other like, "Okay, well, it did that, but never mind. Let's just get on with our work. Can't do nothing about doors closing on their own, so let's just get on with it." So as we start going past this particular room, like so we start at the end of the hall and we work our way back. As we're working our way back, we go past this room. We see all the lights are out in the building, obviously, like people are sleeping. We see this white shape walking down the corridor, no shoes and this nightgown, and we're like, "Oh my god!" Like you're just like, "Holy crap!" No, actually, it turned out it was just a resident. It was just they were just going through their usual "I'm worried about X" thing. But it was just because it was so silent, because the door had closed by itself prior to that. It was all just coincidence, but it was scared us. Yeah, that one actually scared us because it was like just so unexpected. It was just like, wasn't expecting to see someone walking down the corridor looking like a white shape. Anyway, it was just one of the residents. But that was pretty fun. Same area with this particular room. This particular room had a fair bit of activity actually that I had seen. This one was after this door closing. Basically, the room was a mess, and I was annoyed, so I was tidying it up. But I wasn't annoyed. I just, I don't like people leaving stuff a mess, and like people tended to just throw everything everywhere. And things have their place. Look, my OCD does not like that. And things have their place, and things have to go certain place. So I was in there. I was tidying up the room, and as I had my head down, one of the pad bags I'd shoved in this particular thing, and it was in there pretty firm because I like to really fill the shelves so that you're not having to open new boxes all the time, like jamming things in. Pad bag, bang, hit me in the back of the head, and I was like, "What?" And someone who I cared about very deeply, actually, someone who I had a very close bond with. They had recently died. Whether or not that person was telling me they were still there, I don't know. Saying goodbye, I don't know. Yeah, all I'll say is I had a very close bond with this particular person, and it was not long after they had passed that this thing had happened. I was pretty upset about that one. Really upset, actually. One of the ones that actually, because when you work with death a lot, you detach yourself from it because you can't function as a person when you see death all the time. Okay, if you have an emotional connection to it all the time, it will break your heart. It'll burn you out. It's too much. Okay, so you can't do that all the time. Only way you can sort of is if you have like a separation. But no, you can't do that with everyone. All right, when you work with people directly, you form connections. Okay, it's just natural. That's nature. That's human, and that happens. All right, so even though you keep a professional distance, right? Still, there is going to be people that you are very close to, very connected to, and this person I probably had the strongest connection with that I worked with as one of the presidents, and that really hurt actually. Yeah, and yeah. Anyway, trying to get back to these stories. Sorry, I just almost brought a tear to my eye. Anyway, that particular room, back to that room, there was a couple of other incidents there. There was a time when I was walking past the room, and I know people talk about shadow people. There was a lady who had sort of 1 foot in the door on earth and 1 foot upstairs, and she was sort of hovering between. And I believe it was her husband coming to check on her. I believe he'd come a few times actually, because it was just a few times he just thought someone else there, and nothing negative. It was just just coming to see her. When I turned the corner, I saw this shape, a bit shorter than me, probably the head probably come up to there, eyes are about there, and there were these great big glowing golden eyes with these black orbs, or black irises if you want, and we kind of shocked each other and were like, oh, it disappeared. Had like a shape of, say, a child's drawing of a human. It wasn't overly, I would say it wasn't like a really made out shape, but it was definitely human. But it was sort of like, just kind of like the stick man type deal. Black shape, golden eyes. I don't really tell many of the other staff about that. I don't know if they really believe me to see something that directly. And I kind of thought, half of them thought I was a bit crazy anyway, so I don't know. Didn't need to add to that. Anyway, so that was interesting. Didn't do anything negative or anything. It just kind of just shocked each other, and it went away, and I was not really sure what to think of it. I kind of just got on with my work, etc. Like nothing else you can do. So I believe it was the husband though, because like I said, it was right next to that room, and there was multiple times where something had sort of made its presence known, and I was sort of like, okay, so it's an interesting concept. I believe again, unless you see these things for yourself, it's very hard to sort of discern. But I can't convince you unless you see it for yourself. You can't force it either. You can't force these things. They just happen. Last thing of that particular area was I was walking down the hallway and just doing my checks, my rounds, just checking on everyone. And one of the papers got ripped off the wall and thrown, and it was on there with like pins and stuff, and or sticky tape or something. Torn off and thrown down the hallway. I'm not sure exactly why. I kind of just stuck the sign back up because I was just like, stuck it back up and then just got on with my day. But I don't know. What else can you do? Like, you just got to focus on what you can do, not everything else going around you, especially things you can't really see or control. There's nothing you can do about that. And the last thing of that I'll say is that there was a couple of times going into in other areas, you'd hear footsteps walking down the corridor, you'd have a look and there's no one there. One of the ones actually that I think was kind of intervention. No, I won't tell that story. Sorry, I don't want. No, think no, I won't tell that story. I'm sorry. I mean, it's an interesting story, but it's no. Actually, no, I won't tell that story. It directly reflects on. Well, not reflects. It directly. It's about someone, and yeah, I'm not. No. So I won't tell that one. But yeah, we used to hear footsteps. The last one in that particular area didn't always hear footsteps. Like I said, these things were sporadic. Most of the time, you never saw it, never heard it. It was just a plain Jane normal night. Okay, so you never really see much out of the ordinary, other than what people do. People would pretty much do most of the things, all the things, actually. But I never saw this particular one down in the main kitchen. Someone was putting a trolley back, like a food trolley, putting a food trolley back. And in front of their face, apparently, the food trolley took off on its own and started coming towards them at high speed. I've been in that kitchen a few times to look for stuff or put stuff away or whatever, and I never saw anything. I think I tried to provoke it once because I wanted to see it for myself. I even brought out a trolley to push. I tried to get a response, but I never got anything. Whether or not that was because I was attempting to gain its, put its circus act or whatever on display, I want to see. But no, nothing happened. That was, yeah. Now, what do I think ghosts are? Okay, so we're talking about things that I've seen. There's probably more stories at the top of my head. I can't really think of them. That's okay. So, what I will say is, sorry. Yes. Okay, sorry. I lost my train of thought. So, ghosts. I don't think they're actually the person at all. Like, I don't really believe that a ghost is stuck in one place. I don't think God would do that to someone. I don't believe that God would keep someone in a single place. I just think that would be cruelty, and God is not cruel. So I don't think that would happen. So that in my heart, that's not true. That wouldn't happen. What I would say is, I think it's like a photograph or a video recording of a person. I think it's like an imprint. Like there's emotional, there's physical attachment. Like maybe they've left something there, maybe not. There's a lot of emotional attachment there. Emotions have a lot more power than people realize. They're not just how we feel, but they leave an imprint. Okay, it's like a connection. We leave a connection. There's actually 3 ways for you to learn four ways to learn a particular thing, right? And this is if you want to learn anything, right, and really lock it into your brain. If you're having trouble learning, there's 3 things you can do for sure, and then I'll tell you the 4th. Right. So first thing is write it down. Writing is actually forms a connection to our brain. Our brain then makes neurons and stuff that retain this information. Okay, that's why writing is important. Shouldn't be a thing of the past. It should always be used. Okay, it helps us learn, so we should always use writing. Second thing is hearing it. Okay, if we hear it, we can remember. Seeing it for ourselves. So we do these 3 things. Okay. Well, there's actually 5 ways, but yeah. So writing, hearing, and seeing. Okay, these are three main ones. You do these three main ones. So if you watch a video, listening, writing things down, more likely to remember and retain that information. Other thing is practical. Obviously, a lot of people learn, like myself, learn doing things. Doing things is highly important for a lot of people. And fifth thing is the thing to do with emotions. If you want to attach an emotion to an event, say something tragic or something good, anything funny, whatever, you will probably remember it. Okay? Emotions have that kind of power. All right? Like, I'm serious. Like, you think about the things that you remember. One of those things you will probably have attached an emotion to it. I'm not saying that attaching an emotion to a monotonous thing like the square root of blah blah blah. Like, you don't need to know that so much. But there you go. Like, a lot of times that's how people learn. Okay, it's just human nature. So take it or leave that with a grain of salt. How do you want? That's neither here nor there. But that's just things I've learned over the years. So if you want to remember stuff, there's some of the keys that you can do to do that. And it will probably help you greatly if you're struggling to learn stuff, okay? Okay, so ghosts are like that, right? So they leave this emotional attachment. And they leave this, so think of ghosts like that, I would say. Don't think of them as a trapped spirit, and don't think of them as particular. Like I said, once the soul leaves your body, it's gone. Right? I've been around death enough to know and see when one person's gone, they're gone. All right, they've gone off to their next journey. They're not here anymore. So to think that anything would be trapped on this plane or all that you see, it's like, yeah, it's like a photograph, it's like a video recording. They're not here so much as, they're not here like we are. They're not even visiting, right? It's just like a recording, okay? So majority of times I would say that is the case. And like I said, sometimes I think a spirit can come and check on another being or whatever, or person. I think that's perfectly logical. I just don't know what extent that goes to. I don't think they're trapped. I think it's just like, hey, I'm visiting you, and then you're gone. I'm not sure exactly to that. Now let's move on to demons. No, I won't joke around with it. All I'll say is, the things that can harm you in the spirit world are demons. Okay, I think Muslims refer to them, or the Islamic faith refers to them as jinn. I think that's what they call them. But they're more or less demons. That is what they are. Christian faith would refer it further as demons. That is what they are. You don't have to. You can look. Other faiths have got different names for different things, but for the most part, these evil beings, you can just straight up refer to them as demons. All right, they're not. They have. They are. Okay, so you've got to think of the spiritual world differently to the physical. The spiritual world is. It's not meant to have a direct impact on the physical. Okay, it's like an influence. It's like a big wave of, you should do this. You should do this. It's not meant to be like a physical thing like that. If it is, that's demonic. Okay, most of the time, when you see stuff like that, it is a demon. Demons can also be referred to as poltergeists, whatever. They have been known to hurt people. Okay, they have been known to make walls bleed, and you know, invade people's spaces and attach themselves to people, physically harm people, move objects, all that stuff. That's all demonic stuff, right? 99% of the time. I highly doubt that there is a good spirit out there moving an object forward. Okay, pretty weird why they would do something like that. Like I said, the spiritual world is like influence. Okay, mostly. That's why look. It's funny. People believe in demons, right? But they don't believe there's an opposite to demons. I find that amusing, actually. I find that's funny that they'll believe that there's demonic presences, shouldn't play around with Ouija boards and whatnot, and obviously, and they'll see stuff with that, and they'll get impacted with stuff like that, and they won't go, oh, if there's bad, there has to be a good, right? They don't do that. They just tend to go, oh, very bad, because they physically see this stuff, right? They don't think that perhaps the reason for that is because angels and that don't make their presence known like that. The influence is supposed to be kind of like a psychologist, okay? It's like self-guiding knowledge kind of thing. You're supposed to come to realizations on your own. You're not supposed to have all the answers. You're supposed to figure them out. So that's why you don't see angels taking direct influence on the physical world. The majority, I think that it has happened, but I have not seen it. But I don't believe that angels would directly involve themselves in human affairs, and I don't see why they would. And like I said, it's a spiritual influence. You got to remember, the spiritual world is about influencing culture, and I mean, look, when you look at what's happening in the world, it's very clearly that a demonic, evil presence is very apparent. Okay, like it's all around us. Fools ignore the obvious. You can be a fool if you want. That's your choice, not mine. I'm not saying that you can do anything about it. Just saying, like, when you look at the breakdown of culture, the breakdown of marriage, the sanctity of marriage in the Western world, and how people have just turned away from it. They're turning towards this narcissism, this materialism, this ego / celebrity status, this greed, lust, all of these things that we're fully aware of are human nature, but can be influenced by bad things. And too much of something is always bad. Okay, just remember that. I'm not saying that any of these things on their own are significantly bad for one's health, or bad for one's spirit. But what is certain is that the absolute flood of this type of behavior and this expectation. I mean, you look at these people, like they always push their will on other people. Like, you have to accept my terms, or else what? You have to accept my way of life, or too bad. Like, or we're going to come after you, or we're going to, or you won't be, you'll be ostracized, or whatever. Like, this kind of behavior. So just remember that is not normal behavior. That's demonic behavior. Okay, this turn towards abortion, this turn towards like, look at all the corruption in governments. Do you think that was normal back in the day? Like, back in the day, corruption wasn't overly normal, right? Now look at it; it's rife in every community. You see corruption from top to bottom. That's normal. And do you honestly not think that the spiritual doesn't have an influence on that? The turning away from God. Do you not think the spiritual has an impact on that? This is the fight for your soul, and what happens, right? But what do you truly believe is being corrupted? That's why you're that's why a lot of people are confused about it, right? And they're very suspicious, and they're very, oh no, I can't believe this, and oh, you're talking crazy talk, and I don't physically see it, so it can't be real, and um, you're not supposed to see that stuff. That's what I'm saying. That's what faith is. You're supposed to have faith. That's what faith is. And any faith can lead you to the path, that you just have to have faith, right? So that's why, there's, yeah. Look, demons, they take a physical form and a physical attachment and effect on people, because that is their way of influencing the spiritual. Okay, they're trying to turn us to them. They want earth to become hell, right? That's their goal. That's why you see it in Hollywood, and I know that now the stream's gone. They don't like anyone talking poo-poo about them. But all I'll say is that's why you see that influence. Like, look at Hollywood itself. Now we said their name. Let's just say, look at Hollywood themselves. The way they portray the devil all the time. The devil was always portrayed in a positive light. I'm not saying the devil is good or bad. It is just a being of existence that has a role to play in the in the balance of the universe, right? That's the devil's role. And I mean, some people in older Torah will say that Satan is the devil, and Satan means the adversary or the challenger, something like that. So every time you're being challenged, you could say that, but we all get challenged in our lives, right? That would be the impact there. Your goal is to overcome it. All I'll say is, whatever challenges you face in your life, there's no challenge God has not put in front of you that you cannot overcome. You just have to find a way and figure it out. To take away, again, whatever you want from that. But anyway, look at the impact on Hollywood, on culture. And you see it with music. I think Sam Smith particularly loves portraying himself as a demon of some kind. I think that's a bit sad. I think there's a rapper that's basically, they made shoes that were satanic, and have done other satanic things. And then you've got this culture where they have to join these club of people and have to do satanic rituals. And I don't know what. If you look at the goals of Satanism, be a good Satanist, they have to put it out in the open and basically be telling people that's what they're doing. So they don't hide it. So when they say, "Oh no, we're only joking," they're not joking. They fully mean everything they say. 100%. Don't treat it as a joke. Go. That's how you feel. That's your soul, mate. It's not mine. Too bad for you. Sorry that you want to throw it. You want this insignificant or this tiny life that we have here next to eternity, and you want to spend eternity in that. Sure, that's your choice. No one's going to tell you otherwise. But if that's what you think your soul is worth, forget it. And yeah, look, like I said, and you look at like the music and the movies and the shows, and they always portray God to be this pussy-whipped type of thing that, it's this pathetic, weakened down, watered down version of what things are, and that it's this very jaded view on society, and it's this very like you have to follow these X rules, or you're not one of us, and if you're not one of us, you're not part of the cool kids. And it turns out that the other kids, the evil kids, are always the good ones in the end, because they're the ones that we all kind of really more connect with. That's kind of Hollywood's goal, right? It's to try and numb down evil, and it's to get you more on side with evil. Okay, that's their goal. Hollywood is evil. They are the spokesperson for hell. They 100% are, and they will fully admit it and then joke about it and just accept that. That's why a lot of people have turned away from Hollywood, and a lot of people tired of their rubbish. and they're trying to put their influence on culture and society, politics, everything. Trying to change laws, trying to do all this stuff, trying to have this impact that they know more than the rest of us. They don't know more than the rest of us. They think they do. But as you can see from what I'm telling you, it makes sense. They know nothing any more than any of the rest of us. Well, that's Hollywood's goal. And why? And like I said, good is trying to get you. Look, good is not weak. Okay, good is not some pathetic, ripped out, soft little thing. Okay, it's a hard nugget of discipline. That's why it's hard to be good. It's easier to be ill. Ever wondered about that? No discipline required to sell drugs. No discipline required to beat someone up. No discipline required to work hard and not take the easy path, right? No discipline required to get through the tough times on your own. To go through the lonely path and before you can find that peace and love. There's no discipline regarded in that. But it takes discipline and hard work and a good character and a good soul to push through all that. And to be surrounded by all this darkness and still get through. Okay? So, I want you to think about that. It's much harder to be good than it is to be evil. Much, much harder. And that means that the people that are good are stronger by a lot stronger. Not some weakly, right? They're not some pushovers. They don't fold because somebody put their temptation in front of them, Just saying. Good is not weak, all right? And good, like angels, they do have their impact. I'll tell you a story. This actually happened to me. Back when I was about 30 years old, I failed university. I was taking on a course that was far too difficult for me. I put everything into this course, right? I don't know, some of you might know this story or not. I don't know. But I'll tell it anyway because it puts context into, and I like context. Basically, I was done, right? I was completely done. I had no plans. I had no goals. Everything I worked for was blew up in my face. I was very alone. I was always alone. Just a very broken human, right? Very depressed. Although I wouldn't have admitted that at the time, but I was very depressed. I basically just gave up. I just left a note, got in my car. I actually got this jumper on, actually, of all things. It's this thin, weak little jumper. $8 Kmart jumper back in the day. Got in my car and I just drove. And I left my phone at home so people couldn't track me. And I didn't know if anyone would find any of that, but I didn't care. And I just thought, I'm just going. I've had enough. I didn't really have any plan on what I was doing or how I was going to do it. I was just, I'm done. So, I just drove. I ended up getting out of Kalgoorlie from Perth in a day, like 600 k's anymore. I was purposely not eating any foods that would provide me with moisture. I was eating like corn chips and things because I knew it would dry me out, and I was just smashing energy drinks to get me further and further. That was the only fluids I had, and I was just going to drive out to the desert, and just when I ran out of fuel, just going to explore. That was my plan. I knew that if I kept moving, it would be impossible for anyone to catch me or stop me. I knew that no matter how good the police were, there was no way. Even if they could track my bag, there was no way they could keep up because they were always 2 steps behind me. So I knew that nothing they could do. I got out to Kalgoorlie. That place was ice. I had a journal with me. I was filling out the journal because I figured, well, someone finds my corpse, they'll probably want to know what happened. So I was just filling that out. Tried to have a bit of a sleep before I hit the Nullarbor plane. And when I was sort of half awake, a female voice actually said to me, "You can fix this, go home." That it. It was a very gentle voice, it was a very kind voice. Not a voice I'd ever heard in my life, ever before. Never heard it in my life. But it was female, that I knew. And I wasn't going to. I'm a very stubborn human. Like, I'm one of the most stubborn humans you'll find. Very stubborn. And I wasn't going to go home. But it was like I was looking at the Nullarbor road to go there, and it was just like an ocean wave, just swoosh, just pushing, and it just kept pushing. And actually, I'll tell you, specifically, I can remember actually driving out there was the images of Pluto were coming out. I was disappointed that I wouldn't get to see what Pluto really looked like up close. I was very disappointed by that. Anyway, I was like, oh. Anyway, like I kept trying to go, and I turned my car around, and then I drove home in one day, and yeah, rest is history. But all I'll say is I'm very thankful for that intervention. That I would say was an angel. I was very thankful for that intervention because I wouldn't be here now. I've got my fiance coming soon. I've got this house to share with her, my life to share with her, and got a good job that I love. I get to help people, and yeah, there's been a lot of things that got pushed down a very dark path for a long time, and psychologists that actually helped me get better. So for people that don't believe that actually helps, it does. I don't know. Who knows? I could have. Who knows where I could have ended up when I was in a very, very dark place. At one point, so dark it was pitch black, and anything could have happened, but it didn't. And I'm very thankful for everything I have now. And I just hope I get to be a good dad. I get to be a good husband, and share the love that I have with the world around me. I hope I get to help a lot of people in my life. That would be my dream. I'm very grateful for everything I have. And I would say faith helps with that. I think faith, I don't know if it's faith in yourself or faith in higher power or faith in whatever faith it is that you have, whatever goodness it is that pushes you through the dark times. I hope that you find it. I hope that at least gives you some understanding. So when I say that the angels don't always take a direct impact, perhaps that's wrong, because they took a direct impact on me, and here I am. And I'm very grateful that they did. I don't know why specifically. I guess I'm not done here yet. I've still got things to do. So I hope this video finds you well. I hope you take care of yourself. Look, if you do unfortunately run into I guess demonic stuff, my suggestion to you is be positive and sing happy, be happy. These things feed on negativity, so if you don't give them that, they don't have power. So that's right. Come to speak. Come to speak. I say goodnight to the nice people. Say goodnight, Poochies. Meow. Say meow. Right? Yes. That's you. That's you. You see you? There you go. You sit over there. Right? Who's a good girl? Yeah. You my good girl? Yeah. Well, Bridgie says we've had enough. Good night. Take care of yourself, everyone, okay? Peace out.